Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Breaking Bread Digital Music Library. I'm your host, Tom Tomasek. I'm an OCP composer, and for 14 years I helped direct and develop resources here at Oregon Catholic Press. But currently I'm the pastoral director at the5loaves.com, and together with my wife Kimmy, we produce weekly videos on the scriptures for the next Sunday using the music of spirit and song. So I invite you to check us out. But one of the hats that I wear is as music director at Our Lady of the Lake Parish here in Portland. I really love being back on the front lines, but like many of you, I'm sure, I face a variety of musical needs each week and each liturgical season. So that's why I'm delighted to be here today to talk to you about a new OCP resource that I have dreamed about for a long time and which is already helping me do my job more efficiently. I'm here today with Julie Taylor. Julie?
Hi everyone, I'm Julie Taylor. I'm the online products manager for licensing online and the new Breaking Bread digital music library subscription. I'm happy to be here today. A little bit later on in the webinar, I'll be demonstrating the actual site. So thank you so much for being here.
Great to be here with you, Julie. Thanks. Let's do a little housekeeping, though, first. I would recommend that you close other programs or apps that you have running because it will affect the speed at which the slides load on your computer and improve the viewing and listening quality. So please do that if you can. And secondly, on the right side of your screen, there's a control panel where you can ask questions at any time. So as we're talking and moving along, you can ask the questions during the presentation. Just type them in there in that control panel. And then at the end of our presentation, we will answer as many questions as we can. But be assured that all the questions will be answered. Jethro Higgins is here today with us to monitor those questions. Thanks, Jed.
No problem.
And thank you for sending in your questions in advance. I tried to incorporate as much in terms of my answers into our presentation today, so that really helped. Thanks so much. So here's at the end, also in that control panel, here's a poll question for you. We'd like to find out a little bit more about who's online for the webinar. So you can answer in the box right there on your screen. Appreciate if you'd do that now. And then just as a general overview, let's talk about what we're going to cover during this webinar. I want to talk about how you learn new music efficiently and conveniently with this new resource and how it gives you increased access to the music resources and repertoire that you need to do your job. So many of us have multi-generational choirs and assemblies, and so we want to talk about how do we engage those people in our ministry. And then, of course, we're going to spend a fair amount of time just demonstrating the Breaking Bread digital music library. So that's our overview. But let's, as always, begin with a prayer, shall we? Let us pray. Merciful God, in this morning's gospel, you send the disciples to proclaim the good news from village to village. Bless our time today during this webinar, that we may learn how to use new tools to help our instruments and voices give you glory and assist the faithful in singing your praise and following you as disciples. We're grateful on this day for the presence of our Holy Father, Pope Francis, as he visits our country this week, and for his pastoral leadership of your church. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen.
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 As a musician and a composer, I'm always amazed at how the Holy Spirit continues to inspire the church. This quote that you see on your screen from Sing to the Lord, Music in Divine Worship, resonates for me with the Second Vatican Council's teaching in Gaudium et Spes, the Pastoral Constitution, that we must always read the signs of the times and interpret them in light of the gospel. It was just a year ago in September of 14 that, in talking about the new evangelization, Pope Francis said this. He said, "How many people are tired and exhausted and await the church? They await us. And how can we reach them? It's not the task of the Pope to offer detailed and complete analysis of contemporary reality, but to invite all the church to grasp the signs of the times that the Lord continually offers us. These signs must be reread in light of the gospel. This is the moment of growth for God's kingdom. And I'm sure we're going to hear much more from him this week as he visits our country, but we know, you know, and I know that good resources are needed for evangelization and also for worship, because we also know that worship evangelizes so powerfully. Good worship evangelizes people into the faith. So what are the resources that help pastors and pastoral ministers perform their work with excellence as they respond to those signs of the times? Let's face it, the world is digital, and that reality requires us to consider new methods to respond to the increased demands on our time and our finances, of course. But think about this, on any given day, your parishioners can hear more new spiritual songs online and on their smartphones than you will ever be able to include in your weekly repertoire. Think about that. So when they come to church, they come with one ear seeking the familiar and the traditional and the worship songs that they have come to know and appreciate as their praise. But their other ear is desiring to be surprised by the Holy Spirit. How do we affect change in that environment? And think about this as well. Those parishioners are not just the digital natives that sociologists talk about as the younger generations. These are disciples of all ages who are connected online. The U.S. Bishops' survey showed that across all generations, people spend at least 2 to 4 hours online every day. Every day. Here's a personal example. Up until the month before she died, my mom, she was 95 years old at the time, checked her email twice a day to get messages from her grandchildren and her own daughters. 95 years old. She would lose the cursor all the time, and she would get the blue screen of death. But, there she was online, 95 years old. So we may need to change our attitudes about who is out there in the digital world. So let's take a look at some of the pastoral music needs that we're facing. Let's see if any of these describe your parish and your situation. You have a growing variety of music groups, instrument ensembles, choirs, contemporary bands. You probably have an increased variety of musicians, singers, accompanists, and they need access to scores. You're getting a pressure for increased variety in musical styles, contemporary music, choral music, cantor solo resources. And here's the biggie, of course, the expanded availability of digital devices. I don't have the latest stats here, but I just see so many more iPads, tablets. Now there's laplets that you can detach the screen from. And all these can display musical PDFs, portable displays. How about this? Are any of you facing the need to project song lyrics on screens and in presentation software? I'm sure that's the case. And always we want to teach and learn new songs. How do we do that in this digital world? But as we face that rears up the whole sense of access to licensing for multiple people on your pastoral staff. That's a biggie, of course, because we want to be legal and do things correctly. And of course, you have so much more time and staff to meet those needs, right? I'm swimming in a sea of musical binders. Help me, So does this look like your bookshelf sometimes? So today, we want to talk about not so much just the problem side, but I want you to imagine with me. I want you to open your mind's eye and imagine that you had one-click access to every song title in Breaking Bread 2016. That means every guitar, every choral keyboard arrangement, every instrument part available, every assembly edition for print and projection, every mass setting that's in Breaking Bread, every respond and acclaim psalm that's in Breaking Bread, every MP3 recording available for those songs, and more. Now also imagine that with that one-click access to every song, you could print choral copies for your choir rehearsal and send members a link to listen to those songs, MP3 recordings, in preparation for your rehearsal. They came with the songs in their ears. Imagine you could send your contemporary group the guitar score in a PDF so they could access it and sequence it in their iPads. Imagine with that same link you could send the music to your woodwinds and your brass and other instrument players so that they could download their parts. Imagine you could take the assembly box, the edition with the melody and words, and put it into your funeral or wedding worship aid that you're preparing this week in scalable GIF format files so that you could match your settings and the size of your program. Well, you don't have to imagine, because that's what we're going to talk about here today, the Breaking Bread Digital Music Library. And today, along with Julie, I want to introduce you to that and to the features that we've incorporated. So some of you may be saying, what took you so long? Well, in fact, we've been working on this product for a lot of years as we've moved to digitize all the music assets that OCP has access to. It was a major effort, and it started with asking you more specifically what you needed. So we did some studies, research studies between 2011 and 2014, and specifically focusing on music directors. And here's what some of the summaries were, as you might expect. Many of you use online sources for your liturgy music preparation, and you already were asking us for more online-based resources. Some other things, though, just having a central site where to find those music resources, and the ability to share those files with other musicians for worship in preparation and at the times of worship. You told us that you needed that both in online and downloadable and printed form. So you didn't want to abandon one form for another, but you needed them all. And the ability to be able to refresh and update that content was essential. So previously, 2 years ago, OCP launched this digital subscription to Spirit and Song, and I've been using that now for just about 2 years. I can tell you how fabulous it's been. It's tremendously helped me in my pastoral ministry. And so here is the Breaking Bread Digital Music Library that supports the #1 Catholic Missal in the United States. Those of you who are regular subscribers know that it's a well-balanced repertoire that has a variety of resources in it. And we're going to talk about some of that as we get into the actual demonstration. You know that parishioners nationwide and moving from parish to parish are familiar with those songs. You asked us especially for a digital music resource that enhances but doesn't replace the physical resource, and that's essential. That's certainly essential to us as a company, but also to you as you move about within your parishes and your pastoral settings. So we tried to listen to what you were telling us. It was then, in putting this together, a collaborative effort. We were thanking you for that help in the process, and so we really refer to this as a co-creation resource. It's customer-based. And it was then tested by music ministers in a variety of places nationwide. So the prototype has been worked with, and you helped us make improvements through your comments and suggestions and actually watching you use the product so we could better meet the needs of those who would be using it on a regular basis. So we want to thank you for partnering with us and helping us to meet the needs of the rest of you in pastoral ministries. So here goes another poll question for you. I'd like to know a little bit more about what you use in terms of digital music resources. We've done some research on this, but just kind of getting a sense of those of you who are online with us today, if you might take a moment to respond to this poll that's on your screen right now, but also is on your computer screen there in the corner. So let's talk about the pastoral reality that we all face. Just here's a few situations that I know I've encountered, and I'm sure that it's been true for many of you. You want to teach a new song to your parish, okay. But just as you're setting that in motion and you're ready to go to rehearsal, you find out that your best tenor, who reads music, has a business trip this week and can't make choir rehearsal. But that's reality, right? So, but what if you could send him the choral score to the new, say, Bernadette Farrell song, In God Alone, that's in 2016, and an MP3 recording so he could hear and rehearse it before Sunday? Simple. He could rehearse in his hotel room, in between meetings, if he was really that dedicated. But certainly he could come to rehearsal on Sunday ready to go. Let's take another example. You want to incorporate some new contemporary songs that you found in Breaking Bread into your repertoire, but you're worried that some of your choir members have trouble with the syncopations. But what if you could send that whole group the lead sheet to, let's say, Steve Angrisano's A Rightful Place, great opening song. So they've got the score in front of them and the MP3 recording that they can listen to on their smartphones in the week before the rehearsal. The syncopation is going to set into their mindset so that when you come and you're trying to plunk that out, piano, guitar, they're ready to go. Here's another one. This one's particularly true for me right now. I've got 3 different music ensembles, different instruments, different leaders, different singers. What if you could send a music list to each of those members, who in turn then print it out for their binders or sequence those PDFs in their own tablet music program? My groups are already doing that. It saves me boatloads of time. How about this? You're looking ahead to the season of Lent. Hopefully you're that far ahead. Some of us maybe not so much, and you're reading Dr. Elaine Rendler's song recommendations in today's liturgy. So, but you're kind of intrigued by a couple of these new songs she's suggesting, and so you go to your laptop, log into the Breaking Bread Digital Music Library, you click on the choral scores for, let's say, Ashes to Ashes, the new Dan Schutte song for Lent, or Faithful Cross from Tom Kenzia. You're able to check the keyboard and guitar scores for playability by the variety of instrumentalists that you have, and then you listen to the recordings to compare how you might include them for the season. Get a feel for the songs without having to have your whole choir there, rehearsing them and getting that sense. Or you could do that with your choir at some point in time. So we could go through a lot of other scenarios, but what your particular needs are. So I think it's best if we just get right into the demonstration and let Julie take us around to the new resource and show how it works. And I'll talk about some of the examples as we go along. Julie?
Thank you, Tom. And I just want to say, Tom's presentation so far, I hope everybody has appreciated all that's gone into that. It really is a wonderful product, and I'm so excited to share it with everyone here today. A lot of background Tom went over, talking about the content and the functionality. And let's get into the site and just take a look at it. So right here, you've already logged in. And this is your home screen. What we're going to do is just scroll down to either the Breaking Bread Digital Music Library title or the badge. You can click on either one of these, and that will get us into the landing page of the home screen of your subscription. There's a lot going on right here, and basically that's because many of you do the same things in different ways. So we can search and we can click on these big shiny blue buttons, Or you can go over here and click on your quick links. We have our navigational dashboard up here at the top. So a lot of different ways to get to the same place. So what we need to do right now is we just need to get into the content. Let's see the songs. So I can click on this drop-down clipboard of the hymns and songs, and I can click here, search by title. And what you're going to get is this big long list of browse all the songs. These are listed in alphabetical order until you decide on what song you want to look on. You can click on any one of these letters and you can get down to songs that begin with that letter. Once you click down into the T's, for example, you can always click on this tab at the bottom where it says back to the top, and it'll get you right back up there. So let's take a look at one of the songs. Let's go into A Rightful Place. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And this really is the heart and soul of the subscription. For every song we have listed in here, you're going to have every asset for that song that coordinates and matches on one page. So immediately I'm going to have the recording that you can click and listen to without going to a different page. While you're listening, you can go ahead and click through these different options. You're going to land on the congregational sheet music, which of course is the text and melody line. Right here you have the choir version. As I click through here, you'll notice that these snapshot previews change. Here's the PDF version, guitar, instruments, keyboard accompaniment, and song lyrics, which are text only, but in many different formats. So you're going to get the PDF or the GIF or GIF file, and then the plain text version as well.
And Julie, that's particularly important because depending on presentation software for projection, these formats really do make a difference. It makes it easier to insert them into the presentation software.
Exactly, Tom, and that's why we've not just given you one version. It's for you, the people, what type of file you need for your software. What I also want to point out is that because you're only going to get a snapshot preview, we also give you the full preview. And I'm just going to scroll down. I've clicked on the choir version. And at any point when you see these blue circles with the question marks, you can just mouse over that and it'll explain to you what this means. This is a full-size complete preview. So I'm going to click on that, and what's going to happen in another browser tab, you're going to get the entire choral version with cover page, page 1, page 2, or however many pages it is right there, so you can preview the entire thing. And then I can just simply close out of that and I'm back into the subscription. Another way to search for songs is you can search by the number.
Julie, why don't you take a look at number 386?
Let's go ahead. I've clicked into the search box at the top of the page, and I'm just going to simply type that number in.
I wanted you to search on this, Julie, because when we say that every song in Breaking Bread 2016, even the songs that come from other publishers. So here's the servant song, which many people use for weddings, but it's also a very wonderful mission and ministry song. And here it is in full opportunity with all the assets available to it as well.
Right, and again, it's just, I think, really important for you, the customer, to be able to have all the assets of one particular title that coordinate, that have all the verses matching. You no longer have to search and try and find a version that has, 6 different verses versus one that has 2. These all coordinate together on the same page.
And I'm particularly happy that the choral scores are immediately in here. So they're already cross-referenced for you from the big books to Choral Praise 3. Can we take a look at another one, Julie?
Right, let's go ahead. Another way to search would be to actually just type in the title that you're looking for.
So let's look for Eat This Bread, a very popular title that is used regularly. Comes from the Taizé community.
So after you search, we're going to have all the titles appear that have that phrase in there, but at the very top is the one we're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and click into that right now. And we're here.
And there again, in particular, I want to point out that, again, you've got the congregational sheet music in two different formats. PDF, most of us are familiar with the portable document format, but also GIF or GIF files. For those of you who put programs and worship aids together, you know that the scalable ability of these picture files basically allow you to match your format for your worship aid. This is a very helpful thing, whatever program that you might be using to do that. Could we do one more?
Yes, absolutely.
So how about if we're searching by composer? Let's see. Obscure OC composer by the name of Thomas. Let's see if we could search by that.
Let's search by Tom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the hymns and songs, and right here in this drop-down clipboard, I can search by different ways. First lines, by title, by number, of course, but let's go to composer. And right here, I'm going to go to the T's, and I'm going to scroll down here and find Tom.
Look, Mom, there I am.
And let's, Tom, which song should we take a look at?
Take a look at Grateful. I'm grateful for this resource. There it is. So here's an example for those of you who have that variety of musical groups. Grateful came into the repertoire through Spirited Song. It's a contemporary song, but as it's made its way into Breaking Bread, it now has all of the digital assets available to it. So it's also, if you click on that, Julie, it's also available now as a choral score. So there it is in parts that you'd be able to do. And then also, again, looking at the song lyrics tabs, it's available there in different formats that you might be able to put into a Thanksgiving booklet or an order of worship for a prayer or liturgy that day, but also instrument accompaniments. So there it is for solo instruments that you can feature depending on the instruments that you might have available in your choirs and your instruments. How about another one? Can we look at some of our bilingual resources? Because one of the things that's true about Breaking Bread is that there is a diversity of languages also present within the repertoire. How about number 336, Amen al Cuerpo de Cristo?
Let's go ahead and go back to the main page here that has the Browse All Songs. I've navigated there by clicking on Hymns and Songs. And you'll notice over here on the right-hand side of the page, I can always type in the number right here.
I love this feature because when I've finished my preparation for my order of worship, I just have all the numbers lined up. I'm able to go in there, and then as we're going to talk to you about music lists here in a few minutes, it's way easy to be able to find songs. So here's Amen al Cuerpo de Cristo. It's bilingual. Father John Schiavone's a song, very popular.
And again, we have the choral version right here, the different versions of the sheet music depending on what your needs are, guitar, keyboard, song lyrics. And again, at any point, you can always click and listen to that song. So as you're reading the music and you're looking through what you want to choose, you can be listening as well and not be on a different page.
Julie, we've not talked as much about the audio recordings, but this would be especially true, I think, with a bilingual or a multilingual song. Could we do one more song?
Absolutely.
Let's look at 941, Exaudinos, Hear Us, O Lord, from our good friend, Brother Rufino Zaragoza, who has really developed a wonderful number of resources that use many languages within them. So here's his quadrilingual intercessions. So notice how that's laid out in an assembly box, a helpful way that you can put in your order of worship with the Vietnamese phonetics underneath the language. huge resource growth in that. But also, as you're looking at this, you could click on the audio recording and hear native speakers, of course, sing those words. So again, your choir doesn't have to get over that, or it's easier to get over the fear of trying to pronounce those words if you're going to try to do that sense of hospitality and welcome people into your worship services.
Exactly. This is a great way to learn and not just stick to what you've normally chosen. You can expand your repertoire, as Tom's talking about, and expand into other languages as well. But there's more to Breaking Bread than just the songs in the actual book Breaking Bread. We've included a lot of other content in one place for you to use. Let's talk about what we've included here, Respond and Acclaim. And again, what's going to happen is each year we're going to be updating the content. We have a content calendar where you're going to get the New Year's content starting September 1 for planning purposes, and then by early December, we'll be removing the previous year's content. Right now we have 2016 Respond and Acclaim loaded on this page simply by clicking on Psalms. You can search right here by the different months, and these are all clickable links. I can click by the date or the title, and by simply clicking here, you're going to see that we're going back into another version of the cluster. You've got 2 audio recordings right here, and then most importantly, we've got this version, keyboard, guitar, and vocal, right here for you in one file.
Again, so you're looking right at the version from Respond and Acclaim that many of you have come to know and use over the years, with the chording as well as the instrumental accompaniment as well as the choral setting of it. And
So-
that's downloadable as a single piece. So from Sunday to Sunday, not all of the Sundays all at once, but just from individual Sundays. So you're sending them the psalm for that particular liturgical week.
Another great feature of the Breaking Bread digital music library is the mass settings. These can be found right here by clicking on mass settings. They are listed in alphabetical order, and we can click on any one of these links to get to the one you're looking for. I think a lot of times people want to scroll through and see what we have as well. I can just scroll through and see the different pieces that are attached with each mass setting. Of course, you can click in any one of these individual links right here. And I'm just in this one particular part of the mass. We've got the audio recording, we've got all the different individual pieces, and sometimes you might have more than one download. We can click on the full preview, but I want to be able to show you that you can get in one piece the entire keyboard accompaniment for the full mass settings, and these are listed on every page in your mass settings right here.
I can't tell you how helpful that is, especially to our groups and ensembles, to be able to get the whole mass setting at the same time. Instruments as well, that's powerful. But also as you scroll down there, Julie, I wanted to also point out just from a content perspective, you have the Latin chant mass, but also a bilingual setting with Mary Frances Reza's Mass, as well as Mass of Creation, Marty Haugen's well-known Mass setting. So there's a variety of resources here already, as well as brand new ones. Kevin Kyle's Mass of St. Francis Cabrini is new to 2016. So,
Great point. And you can take your time clicking through and looking at all these, or at the same time you can just click directly to the mass that you're looking for. Another great feature for the Breaking Bread digital music library has to do with our different indexes, and they are found on this drop-down clipboard under hymns and songs. We've got the hymn tune index, scriptural index, topical, seasonal, and these are really great because you can click on here, and what'll happen is once these different indexes load, you've got a lot of different resources here to click through and find. So those are a great feature right here found on this clipboard. Another part of the Breaking Bread subscription is the ritual texts. And these are simply downloadable PDFs or plain text versions in Word format. And you can click on any one of these and they will download to the computer that you're on when you log into this subscription.
This was a surprise addition for me, and I just love it. There's the Order of Christian Funerals, so you're doing your order of worship for the funeral that's come up unexpectedly, of course, and you need to be able to pull it together quickly. There it is, everything that you need, and you can cut and paste it to be able to put in the music resources as you might need. Makes it easier pastorally for the family to be able to work from a worship resource rather than a big hymn book.
I want to also point out that at any point, if you're looking to learn a little bit more or you need some help, we've created a help page right here that's got quick reference tutorials, which is our small, about 1.5 minute, 2 minute, quick video tutorials with different titles, how to log in and search for a song, which we've gone over a bit today, and exploring song details. Using the My List functionality, and also any one of these frequently asked questions. These are clickable links that you can click on and you'll be directed to a page that has the answer.
Would be a good resource as well for those of you who are music directors to be able to let the powers that be, your finance person, your pastor who are making decisions on budgets and so forth, to be able to answer their questions as best as you can. But Julie, we've got to show them the music lists.
Again, Tom, thank you for bringing that up. This really is the home run part of the Breaking Bread subscription, the My List features. When Tom was talking about downloading music and attaching that in an email and trying to send that out to your musicians, you don't have to do that anymore. You can simply send them a link that you've pre-chosen. So what I've done right now is I've clicked on My List, and we've got a couple lists going over here. And I'm just going to click on that. And what we've done is we've added a couple songs to this list. You can title the list whatever you'd like to. This one's called Third Week of Advent, and you'll see the songs listed here. There's a red X here. If at any point you want to delete a song off of a list, you can do that. But more importantly, right here over to the right-hand side is what we really want. How do you share this list? Well, right here we've given you a link, unique link, that you can copy and paste into a group text, into an email. This is what you need to send out to your musicians. I'm going to click on that just so you can see what it's going to look like. Once someone gets that link, they're going to click on it and they'll be directed here. And you need to select a resource type. So if you want the keyboard version, we can click on that. Everyone is going to get the audio recording. So when Tom was speaking about people listening and learning, that's what you're going to get. You can listen to it here, you can download it. You've also got the keyboard accompaniment for both of those because that's what we've chosen. If at any point we want to change these versions, it will simply change. But you're always going to get the recording.
So again, I'm using this constantly now with the Spirit and Song Digital Music Library and now incorporating Breaking Bread. Every week on Monday, I send out the link to my groups, and they're able to preview, rehearse on their own, make their binders up, float them into their tablets, and they come ready. They come ready to rehearsal, knowing the songs and saying, hey, I really like that new such and whatever. It's amazing how well prepared it's helping them to become.
We have a tutorial on how to use the My List and sharing, but I can go ahead and show you how you can add a song or create a list. Every single song in the subscription is available to add to a list. Let's go back to a rightful place, and I'm going to show you. At the bottom of the screen, you can just scroll down, and you're going to see your custom playlist, My List. And right here, create a new list called. You can type whatever you'd like this to be. We can call this list the webinar list. And then whatever you'd like your list to be called, you can enter it here. and I click create and add the song, and immediately you're going to see that list that you created is right here. The other thing you can do is you could add this same song to a different list. So a song can be listed in multiple lists. If at any point you decide it shouldn't be on that list, you can simply click on the red X and it'll delete off. And I can click from here directly to my list, and I'm directed to what I just created. Here's the name of my list and the song included, and here is my unique link that I can send out. So that's really a huge value for our music directors, being able to send these lists, these links out, and you can create as many lists as you like.
And I might add, just as a word to the wise, make sure that you have kind of a system already established in your mind, whether you're going by the liturgical year or alphabetically or whatever you decide on. Just know that it just helps you to keep those lists easier to access as you're going back and forth from them.
I think that covers just giving you guys a good, quick version of what the subscription looks like, a quick demonstration. Of course, there's more that we could get into, but perhaps we need to see if we've got some questions from everyone.
Yeah, let's click back to the other screen, Jethro, if you could. I just want to review a sense that how revolutionary this really is in liturgical music publishing. I've been in the business for a lot of years, and I know always we've talked about, can there be better collaboration amongst the publishers? Can we have access to the music that we use on a regular basis? When we say all the titles in Breaking Bad, it means many publishers, all the songs. And so the revolution is that this is a content-specific license that makes your job way, way easier. Not only do you have, as we've been pointing out, all of the songs available in the current issue, but the instrument accompaniments, the choral additions, the recordings, respond and acclaim alone, adding that in, a huge accessibility issue, the assembly additions, the ritual text, the prayers and devotions, and it's all legal. You have access to it in a legal way. Thank you. As a composer, I say thank you very much for that. And the accessibility of this has just made it tremendously. I travel a lot. I've been able to continue to send these links out to my group from wherever I'm at. Sometimes I'm in a hotel room, sometimes I'm in a coffee shop. I can do that planning wherever I'm online, and I can also send it out to the people that I need to get it to. But the best thing, there is automatic reporting. You do not have to report anything. It does it automatically for you. That's a tremendous, tremendous savings of time. I can't tell you how important that's been to me as a composer and as a musician and a music director. So praise God, from whom all blessings flow, and for automatic recording as well. But let's take some questions and answers. We've been talking a lot at you, and so we want to, as best as we can, respond to some things here right away today, and know that others, whatever you put on the question list, we'll try to get back to you after the webinar as well.
Great, thanks, Tom. So our first question, and by the way, we do have a lot of questions today, and we're not going to be able to get to all of them, but a product specialist will be in contact with you for all of your questions. So you will get an answer to all of your questions if you don't get one today. So our first question is, do our instrumental parts come in various keys?
It comes in the keys that are associated with the key that's in the book. So you do have, of course, C instrument, E flat, B flat parts, so specific for the instruments. There is I would say that, from a usability standpoint, there's a lot there. There's other things that you're going to need to augment it with, but there's lots there. Mm-hmm.
And here's a great question that Julie might be able to field for us. Does this apply to school use as well?
I'm sure parish schools would be happy to use this, of course. It just depends on, again, are you using the missile program? Are you using the books? But absolutely, these would be applicable to parish schools.
Especially schools that have school masses in the church, so they're using the breaking breads in the church.
And some high schools would be projecting the words in their masses because they could be having those in the gymnasium. So absolutely would be a great resource for schools.
So a few people may have logged in late. I want to cover a couple of things that you already covered at the beginning that they still have questions about. So does the subscription include the choral versions, or is it just the preview in the cluster?
Oh no, it's the actual choral version. Mm-hmm. The full preview gives you a sense of not just to see it quickly, but to see the entire score. But yes, the scores are there, and whatever number of pages that might be.
And here's a great question. Will all the songs in Breaking Bread be in this digital format?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So here's one that we may need to pop back over to the subscription to answer. Can you demonstrate one more time how adding mass settings to a playlist would look like? They didn't quite get the playlist adding function.
Absolutely.
So in particular, they were interested in if they wanted to create a playlist of pieces of a mass to send to their choir, what would that look like?
So what we would need to do is to go to the actual mass, and again, at any song, any title, you're going to have this My List feature at the bottom, and you could create your list right here, titling it what you would like.
Mass of Christ the Savior.
Right.
Oh,
Except am I on that one?
no, I don't think so. Sorry, I confused you.
We can just write mass of for purposes right here, and I can create and add this song, and
Could be
there's the
custom
list.
mass.
Right, custom mass, and I've added it right there. You can also, so once you start adding pieces, you can create an entire list that is the mass.
So this is what I've done with it. So we don't need all the parts for a particular mass setting sometimes. Like for Lent, we're not going to need the Glory to God. So I'll create a list that has the mass setting for that time. So they have those particular parts for that particular mass. It would also be possible just to do a custom mass setting. Say you were using a Glory to God from another setting that you already knew, but you wanted to incorporate the Holy, Holy, and the Great Amen from a new setting that you're trying to teach the congregation. So you could do it both ways.
I think that's a great point. You can customize these lists. So again, all you need to do is click into that particular part or that asset right here. I'm clicked into the Glory, and I can make a list right here, and I can title it. You can title it a date of the date of the mass that you're going to use, and then you can just click around and add right here. Once you've created it, then it's going to come down into this existing list.
Put it down to the webinar list, see, so it shows that up. Add, and then when you go back to the webinar list, now that particular piece is there in the list.
Right.
It's there in the list. It doesn't always sequence in the order that you might be using it in your order of worship. So I always send out to my teams an actual music list, so they could see the format and the flow at the same time that they get the link.
Great. Another question is, so if I had the Spirit and Song digital edition and the Breaking Bread digital music library, would I be able to use both versions for my ensemble?
Absolutely. If you have both subscriptions, you can create a list that will have Spirit and Song songs and Breaking Bread songs included, both together.
And that's a big piece, because again, it comes up on your lists. So your lists are there on the right-hand side, so you can go back to them or create new ones, and you could be pulling from both sets of repertoire. That's going to be particularly true for me as I mix contemporary and traditional repertoire for one of my mass times. Another question, Jed?
So we have a lot of really great questions, but a lot of them are related to people's individual accounts. So we're not going to be answering those on the webinar.
Sure.
So that's all the questions we have now that are in the more generic webinar sense.
Okay,
Great.
Well, we want to thank you all for attending, as well as for the wonderful pastoral work that you do. Thank you for giving your time and your efforts, not just for this little bit of time from your jobs right now, but for what you do from week to week in helping the people praise and sing. Music animates. We know that when we pray, we sing. When we sing, we pray twice. Your pastoral work really helps to animate our worship, and we're grateful to be partners with you in that ministry. There's a next webinar coming up a month from now, October 21st at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 on the East Coast, about using antiphons and chant in the liturgy. And the presenter is going to be Dr. Angela Westhoff Johnson, again, my colleague here from OCP. Great resource for you. I hope you'll join us. You can contact us for more information. The contact information is up on the screen, either by email or by phone number. And as always, you're able to go back and see this webinar, allow other people, point other people to it so that they could see the demonstration, as well as to go online to see some of the demonstration possibilities that are open already for you to be able to kind of test drive what you might be able to do at the local level. So, grateful to all of you. Thanks so much for attending today. God bless you.